Okay, thank you, Martha.
Excellent. Well, as I said, thank you for joining us. I just want to, I'm Kelly Meehan. I'm the EEC Regional Director. I know many of you, so I appreciate your being here. I want to acknowledge some of our other EEC colleagues from the region. We have Loretta Prendeville, who is the CFCE coordinator. We have licensors who are on the call, Arlene Ford, Laura Trainer, Kitty Zhang, and I saw Miriam Azer. See, did I miss anybody? Because we're at 2 pages now, which is great. As I want to introduce you to our host, Eli Cole from Amanero. She's fantastic. And our new Deputy Commissioner for Child Care Licensing, Caitlin Molina.
Good evening, everyone.
And our Senior Associate Commissioner for Licensing Operations, Diana Phillips, who is also with us tonight.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining.
So we can get started. So thanks so much for joining us tonight. Tonight's agenda is focused on sharing a lot of new information at EEC. There's a lot going on, and if you've heard the commissioner's presentation, you know that we're moving forward with a lot of new projects and actions that are associated with our strategic plan. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about opportunities like free PPE. We're going to talk about COVID testing, which is continuing. We're going to talk about the stabilization grants and changes coming soon to support programs. And most importantly, we want to collect questions. We want to collect questions and comments from you so that as we roll out these new initiatives, we have a sense of what type of communication and technical assistance we can provide in order to most effectively respond to your questions and concerns. So the agenda for tonight is the welcome. We're going to talk about the family forum, what we heard from parents. We're going to talk about the ARPA stabilization grants, ongoing EEC supports. We're going to talk about upcoming changes in workforce policy and operations, and other workforce supports like a registry and higher education access. Then we'll be collecting your questions and talking about ways that you can continue to engage with EEC. So to begin with, I want to tell you about our family forums. We hosted family forums from across the state, and we heard loud and clear from parents about affordability as their most pressing challenge, the affordability of care. In our region, we also heard that the workforce shortage is shortening the available hours of care, and that there's a need for more infant toddler care, full day preschool slots, and of course, more subsidies. Families found that it was especially difficult to find infant toddler care before and after school care and care for children with special needs. We know that that is a really critical need for families. Now, the American Rescue Plan Act stabilization grants in Metro Boston, I'm really happy to say that we've had a significant amount of participation. EEC is using the stabilization grants to support programs, funding to support their operations for up to 6 months. So that was a federal grant through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. All licensed child care programs are eligible, and funding is based on license capacity with adjustments based on equity goals. But in family child care, there isn't a difference between being licensed for 6 or 8 for 10. I believe, Caitlin, that it's one grant for family child care. Is that accurate?
That is my understanding, Kelly.
Yeah. So the adjustments for social equity are adjusted for the communities you serve, so that there's a formula that adjusts the grant based on what the needs are of the families you're serving. So the good news is Massachusetts is one of just 14 states that was able to get the grant out before September, and we began in July. It was a very, very thoughtful process, a very inclusive process for developing the formula. And we put in a lot of resources to help educators access the grant. We want everybody to take advantage of this. So far, stabilization grants in our region, 78% of family child care programs have applied for and received the grant. 48% of GSA programs have provided and received the grant. Now, statewide, about 72% of all eligible programs have applied for funding, and 65% of the applicants are from subsidized programs. So that's really good news to get those additional resources that you need to support, offset some of the losses you experienced over the past 18 months. So this is good news. So applications are still being accepted. If you haven't opened yet, but you plan to open, we ask that you connect with your licensor and let them know what your anticipated opening date is going to be. If you have any questions about the grant, there's a special help desk where you can get the most informed answers to your questions. So licensors are not the go-to person for grant questions, but we have a whole support team who can help answer any questions that you have. And you access the grant right through your LEAD portal. So when you log in, you'll see the grant application. So it's a really easy grant application to access. So there is a website also with further information. It provides an overview of the funding. It has recordings of information sessions where Commissioner talked about the intent of the funding and the scope of the funding. There are frequently asked questions. There's a link to the application. And the best part is that there are user guides in English, Spanish, Mandarin, and Portuguese. We were talking before you all joined us on this call about how important those language supports are to especially support our family child care educators in our region. There are some sample grant applications and a formula calculator. So it was designed not to be like your tax return. It was designed to be an easy, accessible grant application. And based on our 78% participation rate, I would say that people have been very successful. So some other supports that are continuing are the ongoing monthly PPE, which will be delivered right to your door. We have funding for that through the end of December, I believe. There's also pooled testing program, but there's also a rapid response COVID testing sites. These are still available throughout ours. The closest one to our region is in Braintree at the South Shore Plaza, but there are other sites available and the testing is free and the results are turned around very quickly. We also want to let you know about subsidy adjustments that were made during COVID that will remain in effect through the end of December. And these modifications include no limit on absences. We certainly don't want children coming when they don't feel well. We don't want them to feel compelled to attend, and we don't want to penalize them for staying home. We'll have extended job search timeframes, and we'll be waiving parent fees, among others. So I encourage you to visit the subsidy website to find out what those updated and continuing policies are. So one thing that we've heard from all of you loud and clear about is how difficult it is to find, hire, and certify family child care assistants. We know that your ability to continue this work and your ability to provide continuity for families is really dependent on regular assistants and also on certified assistants. But we also know that that process can take a very long time. In fact, it's very similar in lead to a process for becoming licensed. Of course, licensees have a much higher threshold and have to provide a significant amount of additional information. But we do know that EEC validation for regular assistance unnecessarily lengthens approval time, potentially delaying operations for the family child care educator. And it has also limited the ability to transfer qualifications across settings. So we know many of you have asked for a certified assistant, and you let us know that this person has been a lead teacher in a Head Start program for years and years, and there hasn't been that reciprocity across care types. So that is definitely something that's going to be changing. The other thing we haven't had, and we know you've been asking for a long time, is no public-facing directory of certified assistants for family child care educators to consult for substitute care. So that's a very, very big deal. And we'll be doing that over the next weeks and months. So we understand that it's been difficult for family child care educators who have needed substitute care or want to hire an assistant. As we think about supporting family child care educators, there are upcoming changes that we hope will address concerns. And these are as follows. Regular assistants who can function as a substitute on a regular basis with CPR and first aid will have shorter and a simpler approach to hiring, though BRC suitability is still required, and you'll still need to engage with the lead portal to issue that suitability from BRC. But the EEC educator will be responsible for validating the qualifications for hire and will be maintaining those records on file. That includes the medical form and any verification of required training for that assistant. Certified assistants who can substitute on a regular basis or in place of a family child care educator will be also streamlining the internal EEC protocols to review and validate qualifications. Again, BRC suitability is still required, and we'll have an opt-in published directory of those willing to be listed as available for substitute care. So there are so many, in our region alone, we have approximately 1,200 assistants, regular assistants and certified assistants. So we really are encouraging people to think about the career pathway that offers, and having people think about not only becoming a regular assistant, but really building their capacity and then hopefully even becoming a licensed educator. So we're really trying to provide that career pathway through this process. Caitlin, do you want to share anything else?
No, I don't think so. I just want to acknowledge that this is something that we had heard pretty loudly from family child care providers, that there needed to be more support in place as EEC designed its sort of operational frameworks for supporting the onboarding of assistants. And so this is a place in particular that we are very interested to receive feedback, to think about additional ways that we could potentially provide more flexibility, but also not compromise the health and safety of children who are in your care, but recognizing that you do need immediate support and help with those operations. So I do encourage you to reach out directly to your licensor if you have specific feedback about ways that EEC could provide some support with thinking about this application process. It is our commitment to make it less onerous and to allow you to feel more supported in onboarding new hires.
Excellent. So in the coming year, this is an exciting new option for workforce supports. Neighborhood villages will be partnering with EEC and creating an EEC professional pathway. It will be a central point of access for review, evaluation, and recommendation about available courses and degree programs that educators can qualify for. This, I know for sure, is something that so many family child care educators are interested in, and often it's very hard to find information about where is their cohort starting, where's there a CDA program starting, where can I find a infant toddler course that's being offered in Mandarin or Portuguese or Spanish. And this portal is going to be a really amazing tool. So it's after November 1st, if a program or educator goes to this website, they can get help finding the coursework they need to start or advance an early education career. So we hope to continue building this, and we're really excited about this. Another big initiative is the professional registry. Another thing that we know is that it can be very difficult when educators have to use the PQ system and the BRC system and the LEAD system. And so the professional registry is going to be a one-stop shop where educators can maintain their profile, and eventually the background record check processes will be available through that portal. It's going to be in LEAD, so you're all familiar with LEAD, and hopefully you'll find it easy to work with. It will be a hub for educators and link them with programs that employ them. So right now in LEAD, you have the ability to connect assistants who are working your program to your program. So family child care is actually a little bit ahead of the curve because of the functionality that you already have in LEAD around this. But it also will reduce delays in recruitment and hiring as well, especially if we're talking about substitutes. If somebody's qualified in the registry and you're able to go to their profile and link them to your program because you've made a decision to hire them, it will just be that much easier. You don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to reinitiate the application when you decide you want to hire them. So we think that that will be a good resource, and we're interested in learning from you what questions or how we can support you in making that effective. EEC held engagement sessions with much more information on the professional registry, and those are on the engagement portal if you want to watch any of those sessions. And it will actually give you a preview of the interface and what it looks like and what will be included there. And so there's the link, yeah. And one of the best things, silver lining of COVID, is that now we've been doing a lot of our engagements virtually, and there are recordings available. So when you don't have time to stop what you're doing during the day to attend an EEC board meeting, you can always go on to our EEC website and watch recordings of the board meetings or any of the other sessions. Eli and her team have done a really amazing job of building our strategic planning portal, our engagement portal, that really shows you the ways that EEC is committed to engaging with the field, hearing from the field, and creating new initiatives that are responsive to that feedback. So please don't stop sharing your thoughts. We're already so grateful for what you've shared, and we learn so much, and it helps to validate that we're moving in the right direction. So please continue to, surveys aren't the only way that you can give your feedback, which is good. I know we all got a little survey fatigue during COVID, but there are many, many ways for you to engage in this process, and we look forward to that. So now this is Elis section of the, and this is where we'd like to hear from you and hear your questions and hear comments that you have about some of the information I've shared with you tonight.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. And it's good to see all of you. We would like to spend the next 20 or so minutes collecting your questions. As Kelly shared, tonight we are sharing the information about the professional registry, neighborhood villages, and access to coursework and free higher education courses, and the very much kind of sooner changes coming around educator qualification processes. And so we want to ask about each of those things and essentially collect your questions. So for each of those, there will be communications and technical assistance and training coming out to help prepare and give educators everything that they need in order to be able to take advantage of opportunities, make any changes. And to make that successful, we want to make sure that those things are answering all of your questions. So tonight, we hope to collect those questions from you. And the way that we will do that is using this software, Poll Everywhere. And so we hope that you will become connected to the Poll Everywhere so that you can respond to the questions and provide your feedback and thoughts to EEC. So there are two ways to participate. The first one is to use a mobile phone and the texting option. So if you text to this number, 22333, and then the words that you will put in your text message are early education, all one word. Another option, or the second option, is to actually go online to the website and to use pollev.com/early education, which I will put right now in the chat as well, in case you want to click there. And if you go to that website, it will automatically connect you to the questions and give you a chance to put your responses in. So there's the link. So once you connect, you will see our first question already displayed, which is asking about some of the changes that Kelly described around educator qualifications. So you'll remember that she spoke about how some of the changes will include a list of people who are willing to serve as substitutes, which you may be able to consult when you need substitute care. That's those who have opted in to participate as a substitute or being willing to serve as a substitute as one potential or one of the changes that will be coming. There were additional thoughts around making it more simple to hire assistants, etc. So the first question is asking, based on what Kelly has shared tonight, as EEC prepares communications and training around those changes, technical assistance, what are the questions that you want to make sure have been answered? So I'll give everyone a moment to connect, and we'll wait for some responses, and then we'll switch over to look at the answers as they come in. Okay, I'm waiting for responses. Let me know if you're having trouble getting connected. Okay, I will start sharing the responses. So if you connected by phone, the question will not display. You'll have to look to the screen for the question. And so the question for this part is, when we think about the changes in educator qualifications, what questions do you want to make sure EEC has addressed in its technical assistance? And Kelly, I'll turn to you as I start to share the responses.
Yeah, background experience, years in the field. We know that's important.
So please continue to respond with what questions do you want answered when you find out more about these changes coming?
Do you think it's going to be difficult for you to manage assistants who are working for you? Do you have concerns about that? How can we be helpful?
It's possible we have more questions on the next two. So Kelly, should we move on or okay?
Sure.
Great. Oh.
And as we think about neighborhood villages and access to higher ed, what questions do you anticipate having?
So for example, if an assistant who is working with you would like to pursue additional education or training, or if you yourself are interested in any additional higher education, what would you want to know from neighborhood villages as you think about whether to rely on them to be matched with a course that's appropriate or a course of study that's appropriate for what you are interested in? Great.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Academic support's excellent. Yeah.
The levels that the courses cover, how much it costs, what kinds of scholarships are available, whether there's a degree on the other end of participating, who will pay.
Yeah, those are excellent questions. You know, does graduate work count?
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhood Villages is one of our partners that's been doing, I don't know if any of you have participated in any of their courses, but they've worked with a number of programs and created cohorts to offer college courses in partnership with Urban College. And they provide not only the course delivery, but all of the collateral supports that people need to be successful. Books, food, childcare on site, and they're offering the courses in communities. So these have been very, very well attended and very successful. So the Neighborhood Villages is a really great partner on this.
It looks like responses are slowing down, so we'll move to the next question.
So as we think about rolling out a professional registry or a one-stop shop for educator records, what questions should we be sure we answer in communications and technical assistance? And if you're on the Spanish channel and you want to ask a question in Spanish, please feel free to do that. I can't promise I'll be the one who reads it, but we will record it and address it. So don't be shy.
As EEC looks to roll out the professional registry, I know that there is a strong commitment to a lot of technical assistance and training, ongoing communications to make sure that educators who are using the professional registry have all of the information they need in order to feel confident and comfortable using it. But we want to make sure that that technical assistance and training is tailored to the questions that you might have, especially thinking about the registry adapting for family childcare needs when it comes to the educator records.
I think one of the unique things about the registry is that you'll be able to look up staff who are already in the registry, possibly do some outreach, look at what their experience is, look at what training they've done. So as you think about hiring certified assistants or regular assistants won't be in the registry, will they, Caitlin? It's a good question.
Yeah, not at this time. We saw the initial phase we wanted to prioritize the certified assistants, and there are a tremendous volume of those. And so we thought that that would be certified assistants have the ability to substitute for a number of different family child care providers. And we saw that as to be like the priority in our operational shifts.
Mm-hmm. So the registry will give you insight to yes, directors and teachers have access. Yes. Lots of those short, easy to follow, accessible tools. And the goal is to make this person-centric and not program-centric. So in center-based programs currently, the director is the one who manages all the staff records and has to maintain files. And I know family child care educators do too. The goal is to kind of put all of this into a system that everyone can access.
I see a great suggestion of a video about how to use the registry that's on the website. I think that is a great idea. It sounds like we're slowing down for this question as well. So Kelly, if it's okay, I'll move on.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the most helpful ways to receive information about changes as they roll out? What have you found to be most helpful? Are there gaps that we're not aware of that you only wish we would do something different? What can we do to improve our communication? If only we could have fed all of you for dinner. This would be much more lively. I know that. In person, we would have fed you. So
someday. Good.
Yes, email in various languages. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so still first class mail.
Mm-hmm. Using social media, using email, directly from EEC and from licensor. So having that personal name attached can help, it sounds like.
Text updates, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Email. Yeah, so licensors are on this call, so it's good for you all to know that that's what educators would like to, don't feel like you're bothering them when you send them an email reminder.
Yeah. Anything else?
There's a comment here in the Spanish chat that says more training in Spanish.
Great.
More
Good.
training in Spanish, yeah.
Direct email from licensor.
See, all of the licensors should take note. Isn't that good to know? That they read your emails right away. It's true.
Which means we should use that option only when very important, probably.
Yes, if using texts, do not send them with large groups so phones don't go crazy with the replies. Isn't that the most irritating thing? when you wind up with 6 million replies back and forth and your phone keeps pinging. So we'll investigate some texting options that don't do that.
Okay. So the last question, Kelly.
So after hearing what you heard tonight, or something you wish we would have talked about tonight, are there concerns or excitement you wish to share related to any of this? Are we headed in the right direction? Does this feel responsive to your needs? Can you see things improving?
This is the last question, so let us have it.
I think that is such a great point. And I know that often grant funding is limited to providers who are serving subsidies, but this grant is available for everybody. So definitely, definitely maybe more communication and outreach to centers who are not serving subsidized families. Our FCC is required to be open 10 hours a day. Currently, that's one of the subsidy requirements that's currently waived. So not currently, but that has been part of the contract.
Just for those participating in subsidy, yes.
Yes. But that's a long day. That's why you need assistance. So I'm so glad that you're excited about this, and we really appreciate your time and input.
Any last thoughts?
Diana, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you covered it very well, Kelly. I just also wanted to extend appreciation for taking time out of an extremely long day to come and hear the new information from EEC in Kelly's presentation and at any of the town halls. The exciting piece about the assistance is that we're hoping to expedite the process so that you will have individuals readily accessible to work in a quicker fashion, and we're working out all the specifics of that at this time. So thank you everyone for attending, and I look forward to our continued work together.
And you'll note that tonight, even though it's dark out, we started at 6 tonight because I heard from many of you that starting at 7 was too late. But you all showed up at 6. So this isn't the right audience to find out, is this too early? Is this time frame good? Thumbs up, not thumbs down, thumbs up, 6 o'clock. I know you're all up at the crack of dawn, before dawn, to get ready for your program. So I know that putting something at 7 till 8 means that you're almost ready to start your next day. So good. I'm glad to see that this time frame worked. Excellent.
Okay, Kelly, if you want to close it out, I think we're ready.
Sure. So thank you again to everybody. I see lots of our family child care system partners on the call. Please, if you have any questions that weren't answered, or if you have any specific concerns, I'm available. You can always email me. You can email Tricia Halpin. She is our family child care supervisor. or your licensor. They're a great resource and a great support for all of you. So thank you, everybody.
Good night. Gracias.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
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 Buenas
Bye.
noches.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Lee. Good night, Eli. Thank you.